Welcome to 24 Holiday Tips for Savvy Homeowners, brought to you by HomeTipsforWomen.com. Join us each day as Tina and her guests bring you a holiday tip to fill your home with more joy and less stress. And now, here's your host, Tina Gleisner.
Welcome, everyone, to today's holiday tip. The reason I decided to do this series of tips is that as women, we are so busy planning lots and lots of activities for the holidays that oftentimes we go overboard and we don't have enough time to really relax and enjoy the holidays. So my tip is that when you're planning, it's good to also consider the 4 Ds. The first one is delegate. Are there things that you'd like to have happen that somebody else in your family could take care of? Next, can you do things together? So if you're into baking lots of cookies, can you bake with your kids or with friends so that you're also getting to visit them and share holiday memories at the same time? The next one is probably the most fun. It's about dropping things off the list. And I give you permission. You don't have to do everything that you did last year and the year before. You are the one that gets to decide. And if you do all 3 of these Ds, then you've got more free time to delight yourself, because you also should have a couple of special activities just for yourself that are going to make the holidays a very special time for you. And so today's guest is Marilyn Elizabeth Porter, and she is both a personal development consultant and coach. And she works with lots of people and has really honed in on the skill that is not everyone's strength of listening to people, because when you listen to someone, you really can gain so much more insight into what's important to them. And so when you want to spend time with the family, you also want to spend time doing things that you like, but also that you know are important to them. So thank you so much, Marilyn, for joining us today.
Thank you.
And why don't we kick off and have you share what is your favorite holiday activity?
Oh, my absolute favorite holiday activity is the Kids' Choice Christmas dinner at my house. That's my absolute favorite, and it's there too.
Now you're going to have to explain what that means. I could guess. Rather hear your explanation.
Sure. Well, Kids' Choice is Kids' Choice came about when my oldest daughter was around 5 years old, and she brought it to my attention that she didn't like going to my mother's house or my friend's house or my auntie's houses. She didn't like going to other people's houses or even having these big grown-up dinners, as she called them, at our house, where there were a whole bunch of foods that she didn't necessarily like. And she said, well, Mommy, most of the time I would much rather have a McDonald's Happy Meal rather than turkey and ham and collard greens and all this stuff that really kind of grosses me out, Mom. So from that, I decided that from that point on, I would allow her, and at that time it was just her, I would allow her to decide what Christmas dinner would be. I would always make the treats, the cookies, the cakes, the pies, but she would get to decide what our actual meal would be. And so that is how the Kids' Choice dinner came about in our household. And so as her sisters came along, so they all it just all kind of fell in line. So now she taught them that, hey, this is what we do on Christmas. And so now on Christmas, they all get together and they decide what they actually want to eat. And my oldest daughter will come, and she will present to me. And she's always a little nervous. They're all always kind of nervous, like, okay, this year, is she really going to let us eat this for Christmas dinner. And so last year they chose spaghetti and salad and breadsticks, which was perfect because it was easy, and it was a meal that I could enjoy as well, but they were in the mood for Italian. And so for Christmas we had spaghetti, just spaghetti and a meat sauce and a green salad with dressing and breadsticks, and they loved it. And then they had their cakes and their pies and, their Kool-Aid or soda or whatever, and they are overjoyed with just the idea that they don't have to eat the traditional Christmas meal. They can just kind of relax and do what they enjoy to make their day better. And believe it or not, most of the time it makes my day easier. So that is Kids' Choice Dinner at my house.
So, Marilyn, how old are the girls now?
My oldest girl is actually 22 years old. She's getting ready to graduate college next month, as a matter of fact. And then I have a 17-year-old and I have a 12-year-old. But nonetheless, even though she's not here, when she comes home, she still somehow reassumes the position as spokesperson.
Right. What will be really interesting is if they take this tradition into their own families as they start families.
Oh, my goodness. Yes, I really want them to, because it's so much fun. It really is. It really is fun for me as the parent. It's exciting for me because I'm always so tickled that even though we've been doing this for 17 years now, I'm always so tickled to see the nervousness in their faces when my oldest daughter comes in my room, and then the other two just kind of peek around the corner to see what I'm going to say. So is she really going to let us eat pancakes? Is she really going to let us, is she really going to let us eat, hot dogs and pork and beans, like whatever? They're always nervous as to, is she really going to let us do this? And so I'm always so tickled by it.
Right. But it's really neat because then, it's really empowering that, they're not just being handed something, that you're showing that, you honor their wishes.
Yes.
I think it's great. So do you know what you're going to have for Christmas dinner this year?
Yes, I do. We will be having hamburgers, homemade hamburgers. They're like, we don't want McDonald's, we don't want Wendy's. We actually want you to go buy some ground beef and cut up the onions and the green peppers. And so they want handmade hamburgers and French fries. And they want me to get regular white potatoes, peel them, slice them up. I don't really know where they got this idea from because this is not something that I've often done, but apparently they visited someone else's home at some point and they have gotten the idea of homemade hamburgers and homemade cut-up potatoes. So this is good. Well, my mom used to do it, but they didn't grow up around my mother, so I don't know where they got the idea from, but that's what we're doing for Christmas this year. We're doing homemade hamburgers and French fries.
Perfect. Okay, so let's go on to, what are your 3 tips to share with our listeners about celebrating, the family and what's important to everyone through the holidays?
I would have to say that my number 1 would be don't struggle with trying to figure out what it is your family members want. Just let them tell you. They will tell you. As I just stated, that's how our Kids' Choice Dinner came about, by my daughter telling me that, Mom, I don't really like that. I don't really like the big dinners, and I don't like that. I like, whatever I want to eat that day. I'm enjoying playing with my toys. I'm having a good time. And it's kind of a bummer to me to have to then switch over to all of this sitting at the table and your napkins on your lap. And, it's really a bummer for me. So she told me I did not have to figure that out. I let her guide me and tell me what it was that she wanted. And so I would really, really say Let them tell you what they want. Don't struggle with it. Just relax and listen.
Can you give us some other examples of insight you've gained by doing more listening to your kids?
Oh my goodness, yes. My children, oh goodness, they keep me very informed as to their likes and their dislikes. And one of the things that, I'm sorry, excuse me. One of the things that that they have been very clear on when it comes to the holidays is that they absolutely love to just be at home. My children don't like for me to put them in situations where they have to be around lots of other people. And so one of the things that I've learned is that for me, I'm a social butterfly. So I like to get dressed up and I like to be out and about. Well, for them, they like to be home, having hot chocolate, in their pajamas, just enjoying a movie. And so for a few years, I noticed that I would take them places, and they would be kind of tense, and they wouldn't socialize. They wouldn't talk a whole lot. And so finally they just said, Mom, we really just like to stay home and enjoy having our family time. We don't really like the social aspect of, we get enough. We go to school, we go to dance practice, we go to camp. We get enough outside time. When it comes to the holidays, we really just like to relax at home and enjoy our time with one another. And so for me, that was a major lesson, because here I was thinking that surely they, I take them to really neat places. Surely they're enjoying this. And then they finally just said, no, we don't. And so again, I listened to them. And so now it makes my holiday season so much more relaxed. It's so much more enjoying for them. And so I really, really would have to say, listen to them. Let them tell you what they like, what they want, what they enjoy the most, and just go with that. As long as it's not hurting anyone or impeding any, per se, a religious tradition or anything like that, as long as everybody is at peace and relaxed and having an enjoyable time, listen, relax, let them guide you. Your family will tell you what they want.
Right. No, that's absolutely fascinating. And I know, with my kids, I've got one introvert and one extrovert. So I love the way your three girls figure out the meal together, and that's perfect to have multiple kids figure out activities together, because they're going to want different things and they need to learn to compromise as well.
Yes.
So let's go on. What's your next tip that you have for us?
My next tip would be to don't worry so much about being perfect. Enjoy the messy moments. And what I mean by that is, let me just share a memory with you. As a child, I can remember I was an only child until I was 13 years old. And so for many, many years, it was just me and my mother. And on Christmas Day, my mom would be, we would wake up and she would sit there with me, and I would start to open my gifts. But immediately, like from the very first ripping of the paper, she would jump up and start to make sure, well, so-and-so is going to come by, and I have to make sure that the table is ready, and I have to make sure that the food is ready, and I have to make sure that the floor is vacuumed. And so I would essentially be opening my Christmas gifts alone, and she would be there, but she would be cleaning up every piece of paper, and if some tinsel fell off of the Christmas tree, I got to put this back, I just vacuumed the floor. And so what that taught me was to not be so worried and so focused on the mess of, because the holidays can get messy. It can get messy, but don't be so focused on the mess that you miss the moments. So my tip number 2 would just be, let go of the perfection and just enjoy the moments with your family. The moments are what are going to matter in the end. You're not going to be, 80 years sitting in your rocking chair and thinking, oh, I really remember that Christmas where the house was spick and span, as opposed to, oh, I remember that Christmas when my daughter opened that toy that she had been begging for and she didn't think she was going to get it, and the look on her face, and I was there to capture the look on her face because I wasn't so focused on the fact that, there was wrapping paper on the floor. So don't focus so much on being perfect, on being a perfectionist. Just really enjoy the moments.
Great. So how about, have you got one more tip for us?
And my last tip will be to create a fun family tradition. Create something that everybody in your family, even the most bah humbug person in the family, gets excited about this tradition. And so our tradition is we have 3 cassette tapes. Yes, I said cassette tapes, not MP3s, not CDs. We have 3 cassette tapes, and they are it's music. It's 3 cassette tapes of all of these various Christmas songs, and they range from old music, like Nat King Cole, Bing Crosby, to modern day Jessica Simpson, Reliant K. And we love these old raggedy cassette tapes. And we do not have a cassette player anywhere to be found in our home, but when it comes the evening of Thanksgiving, we start to scramble. Do we need to go to Walmart? Are we going to have to just listen to them in the car until we can find a cassette player? Does a neighbor have a cassette player? Now, we are very aware that we could get this music translated to CDs, but part of the fun of the tradition is that we know we're going to have to all band together and find a cassette player, an old cassette player, so that we can listen to this music. And so my children know songs like Dreaming of a White Christmas, sung by Bing Crosby. And so my friends are always like, why do your children know that song? They're like millennials. Why do they know that song? Well, because we've been listening to these old raggedy cassette tapes for years now, and they look forward to it. And one of our favorites is Baby It's Cold Outside, and it's the Jessica Simpson remake. And they absolutely love it, and they actually act that song out. They get together, and I will sit down on the couch, and they will put on a little show for me with that particular song. And so I would just say, come up with something that is, let me pause right. Let me go back and say that even when we have friends over, our other family members, everybody who is in our household during the holiday season loves this particular tradition because we dance around. We absolutely just love this. When we're putting up the Christmas tree, we're listening. When we're riding in the car, we're listening. So come up with the tradition that just encompasses and embodies the holiday spirit for you and your family. And for us, it just happens to be those 3 old rickety cassette tapes that I pray to God will last throughout the generations so that my grandchildren will be listening to those same old raggedy CDs. And I'm going to have to just buy a CD player and pack it away with the Christmas stuff so we don't have to always run around.
Yep.
So those would be my 3 tips.
Okay. And just to wrap things up, so looking towards the holiday, and everybody listening, it's November, we're recording, we won't play this until December, but it is actually Marilyn's birthday today, and that's the official day that she uses to kick off the holiday tradition for her family.
Yes, it is. That is the official kickoff. November 26th is always the official kickoff to the holiday season in my household. Thank you for that, Tina.
Sure. So just just share with us, as you look forward to the holidays, now that they've officially started in your family, what is most important to you?
The most important thing for me has always been that my children understand that being grateful for everything that you have, the holiday seasons kind of makes makes us focus in on what we have, and for me, I start to focus in a little bit more on what others don't have. So it's always been really important to me that no matter what we're doing, that my children understand that if no other time of the entire year, during this particular time of the year, always create something in your life that is you giving back. I don't care if it's just making sure you say good morning to your neighbor, or if it's going to Walmart and buying, 5 hats and 5 scarves and donating them to, your local children's shelter, or what. Just always remember to be grateful for what you have, because there's so many people who don't have just what you have. You may not think you have much, but there are so many people who just may not even have just the little that you have yourself. So that is actually the most important thing for me, is that me and my children understand that you have to be thankful for what you have now, because so many other people don't even have that.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that you took time out on this special day of the year to share your tips on celebrating family over the holidays with all of our listeners. And if people want to follow up with you, where would they find you online, Marilyn?
Oh, they can find me at MarilynEPorter.com. That's www.MarilynEPorter.com. And they can always find me on Facebook. I'm all over social media.
Okay. So with that, I'm going to sign off for today. This is Tina Gleisner, founder at Home Tips for Women. I hope you found some special nugget in what Marilyn shared with us, and that you have a wonderful holiday. We've got more tips coming your way. We've got them scheduled 24 days in a row. We just took the number 12 and doubled it. Again, have a wonderful holiday, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today, and we invite you back tomorrow for another Savvy Holiday Tip. Be sure to grab your free gift at SavvyHolidayTips.com. That's SavvyHolidayTips.com.